Lies, lies, lies. Well, here's a 7-day review of this beautiful Galaxy Note 20. Now, you'll find that on YouTube in particular, and I think it's kind of crazy, but you'll find a lot of people telling you to avoid this phone. You'll see them telling you just don't even buy it. It's not worth it. It has a plastic back. It's $1,000. That's the argument that everybody keeps saying. No 120 hertz refresh rate screen. It's $1,000 and it has a plastic back. Those are the main three things I think that it's just stupid for a person. I mean, it's not that I don't disagree that those things are there. I just think in the format that people are applying it, telling you to avoid this phone is silly. It's silly and comical at best, because this is a Galaxy Note. This is a Galaxy Note. And if you buy the Snapdragon version, if you're paying full cost, it's $1,000. If you buy this Exynos version, hit wirelessplace.com, it's $829 now for double the storage than the Snapdragon version. And honestly, after using this for 7 days straight, I'm getting better battery life than the Snapdragon version of both of those. So in this video, I'm going to talk about, once again, you can't just ignore this phone. The first thing is the footprint. I mean, it is a nice, okay, let's be clear, it's not a small phone. It's a big phone, but it's smaller than the other Galaxy Note, and it feels better in the hand. It's got a nice flat screen, and yeah, the screen isn't 120 hertz, but so what? So what? You don't need 120 hertz. You want 120 hertz, and you're programmed by the tech media that you're supposed to get it if you pay $1,000, which, in fact, again, no one's paying $1,000 for this. Only one person, in the people that I've seen online, paid $1,400, and for the Ultra, and it wasn't worth it to him, so he got rid of it. Fair, respect. I'm keeping my Ultra though. My Ultra's on yes, but I wanted to tackle this phone first. So in this 7-day review, let's discuss screen, performance, battery, all those things. Let's just tackle them, because I feel like it's kind of strange that people really are saying to avoid this phone when in fact it is just as good as the Ultra. It is just as good as the Snapdragon version, its cousin, and it also offers double the storage than the Snapdragon version. There's more versions of memory options for the Exynos version than it is for the Snapdragon version, if you didn't know that. There's a 256 gig option, which is what I have, and it's also a 256 gig option on the Exynos version. If you hit wirelessplace.com, you'll see the 256 gig version of the Ultra for $1,000. That's a fair deal to me, considering it's a beautiful device and it is beast mode. And they have Team White in stock, so be sure to hit that up. Just click the link in the description. But let's talk about some of these things that people are saying is bad. And the first thing is the hardware. The hardware on this thing, everybody's saying, oh, it's $1,000 and it's plastic. Folks, I try to make videos for consumers, and at the same time, I try to always give some truth to you and also take care of the technology fiends out there. But I can tell you, when you pick up this phone, I mean, if you just look at it here, you pick it up, you're not going to be able to tell that this phone is plastic, because the framing of it is all metal and it just feels really, really good. Again, I have the Snapdragon version for her, and I'm using the Exynos version, plus I bought the Ultra in the Snapdragon version. So having all the phones laid out on the table, they all feel the same. One is just glass and one is plastic. And if no one would have ever told you that it had a plastic back, you wouldn't have cared, because this is a frosted back, technically a matte back, just like that bronze version. And they feel identical. They feel identical. I tell you no lies. So the fact that people are saying that it has a plastic back, you should avoid it. Folks, that's silly. It's silly. Now, the screen, it's only a 1080p. It's not 120 hertz. Okay? Do you need those things? Some people feel entitled to that because, first of all, you don't have to buy this phone. Go get one of Samsung's A lines. If you feel like it's just not worth it, go get an A line device. Huh? Go get one of those. The A lines are on point. So you don't have to spend $1,000 on this non-120 hertz screen. But is this screen not beautiful? It is freaking beautiful. Just like any other Samsung display. You can't really tell. Why do you need to see smoother scrolling for your moving in between your apps and stuff? If you're playing games, I just feel like the reasons that people have trashed this phone are silly. And that's why I'm making this 7-day review, a real review, because I'm actually using this phone. I didn't just open the box and do a review of it the same day and then put it on to the next. I don't do that. So the screen, yeah, it's not 120 hertz, but it's still beast mode, folks. I tell you no lies. Other people, lies, lies, lies. This isn't a bad screen. You're not going to be disappointed because it doesn't have 120 hertz. Now let's talk about the price. No one is paying $1,000 for these phones. Consumers, you the consumer, you're going to do a trade-in or you're going to finance the entire amount on your bill. That's what you're doing. And if that doesn't apply to you, you're in the minority. You're one of the few people out there, like some of us, that are paying full cost some way or another. And that's okay. That's okay. But I don't think I've ever, only Samsung device I paid full cost for, I believe, is my Galaxy Z Flip. Excuse me, that's the only one I've paid full cost for. So with these phones, most consumers and most people and most of these techies aren't paying full cost for these phones, man. They're doing trade-ins just like you. But the payment for this thing, again, and this is the Exynos version, so this one costs $829 with double the storage. Let's talk about the Exynos version, the processor. You'll see a lot of people online saying, oh, the Exynos versions or Exynos processor versus the Snapdragon is trash. Well, I'm here to tell you that I can't tell the difference between this phone and the Snapdragon version of this phone. They open apps the same pretty much. And this one is actually faster in some instances. Battery life on this one is a lot better than the Snapdragon version of this phone. Pushing up onwards of at least a day and a half with 6 to 8 hours of screen on time. That's fantastic battery, folks. Fantastic. And again, Exynos version. Double the storage. Yeah. So performance, though, depends on a lot of things. Battery depends on a lot of things, and it depends on you. Because you're going to have a certain amount of apps on your device. And you're gonna know. I tend to only put apps on my phone that I'm gonna use. I don't like to put a bunch of apps on my phone that I'm just not gonna use. Won't do it. So this is a Galaxy Note. The main and probably only gripe I have is pulling out my S Pen on the left side. I miss it every time. It's very difficult to remember. Even at this point, a week later, like a full week later, still difficult for me to remember that, and it's frustrating. I switch it to my right hand and pull it out, and I use my left hand to hold my devices because I predominantly write with my right hand. So then you got to switch it back, or you got to do the shuffle in your hand. It's frustrating. That's the only complaint I have about both of the Galaxy Notes. Other than that, I'm solid. I'm solid. And another thing with the Exynos version, you get the headphones that everybody complained about or wanting in the Snapdragon version. You get the headphones. You can actually get your headphones from Samsung. You just let them know and they'll send them to you. They'll ask for your IMEI and stuff like that, and verify your purchase, and they'll send them to you. But this version right here, this Snapdragon version, it's not bad, folks. I mean, this Exynos version is not bad. This phone, the smaller Galaxy Note, is not bad by any means. So if you see all those thumbnails of people saying avoid and all this other stuff and doing all this crazy, you should probably avoid that review, because more than likely, I'm not saying for sure, but more than likely they didn't use that phone for 10 days. They didn't even use it for 5 days. They opened the box, read about what somebody else said, and followed suit. Bunch of followers. And that is what you won't find here. You're going to find real reviews of products that you might be interested in, and I'm going to use them. Call quality on this thing is actually great. Remember, this is the Exynos version being used in the US. So I am getting full LTE, not 5G, even though this is a 5G for the other, for the UK, I think it is, wherever it is. You get LTE over here. At least where I'm at, I'm getting LTE. So expect to at least get solid LTE. And if you're caught up on 5G, oh, it doesn't have 5G, I don't think I should do it. 5G isn't even developed yet, folks. LTE will always be here. All they're doing is changing the icon signal in your strength bar. I know this because I've had phones. And anyway, all I can tell you is that I think you should really consider, once again, consider this phone. I think you will not be disappointed. It's smaller, feels better in the hand, has the same cameras. It's just an all-around great phone. Seriously. 1 week with this thing, I am super impressed with the battery, screen, performance, everything. Hit that link in the description if you want to grab yours. It's your man Jay. See you in the next one. Take care.